Nigeria, a vibrant tapestry of places, people, stories, struggles, and unshakable spirits. Politicians make promises, but who really holds them accountable? I'm Tony Kubara, and this isn't just about politics. This is about us. This is where we confront the hard truths that few say publicly. Hello, everyone. Please accept my apologies. Nigeria Unfiltered normally appears on Wednesdays, but this week's video is late because we've had technical glitches in my office. So thank you for your patience. Thank you for tuning in. Let me get straight to the point. I want to talk about the coalition of opposition politicians who have come together to fight President Tinubu and his APC party in the 2027 election. Now, I've actually did an online poll which indicated that Peter Obi, who is one of the leading opposition candidates, is by far the most popular, compared at least to Atiku Abubakar, the former vice president, who's also interested, and Rotimi Amechi, the former governor of Rivers State, who's also interested. But you know what? There are some people who don't agree with polls, or who think that I somehow am so intelligent that I managed to manipulate this one, because so that it would favor Peter Obi, whom I support. So just forget about the poll for now. I mean, I think polls are very useful snapshots about what a particular group of people or demographic feel at a particular point in time. But, you know, even in countries like the UK, which are more sophisticated and use more, more sophisticated polling methods than my little online efforts, polls are not always an indicator of what's going to happen in an election at the end of the day. They make mistakes too. So I'm not saying that my poll proves anything definite about what will happen in 2027. I just think it's a useful indicator of how certain groups of people feel right now, okay? But the most important thing to me about this coalition issue is not about which of the main opposition candidates is more popular than the other, or who should head the coalition. I think the most important thing is that all Nigerians who are not happy with Tinubu and his APC government should get it into their heads that it is possible to beat a powerful incumbent. Now, I know this because, well, Goodluck Jonathan, who was the incumbent in 2015, was actually beaten. Some people say that he has a weak personality, and that Tinubu would never allow that to happen to him because he would deploy all the state apparatus things at his disposal to make sure his opponents were defeated. I mean, Nigerian elections are all about who can pay the biggest bribes, who can deploy the most thugs at polling stations, who can manipulate the Electoral Commission, who can get judges bribed, who can, gain the allegiance and support of the armed forces and law enforcement agencies. Nigerian elections are risky, dangerous, violent, sometimes violent affairs, and very, very corrupt. Nevertheless, even the most skilled practitioner of the dark arts that are required to be a winner that in the Nigerian political on the Nigerian political stage can be defeated if the people are really, really determined to get rid of that person. And the second thing I'd like to say is that you don't always have to be an aggressive practitioner of the dark arts to do well in a country, even in a country like Nigeria. So, if Nigerians are serious about getting rid of Tinubu, they will focus on supporting the coalition. And the government, Tinubu and his people, they know this because they've started attacking the coalition in a way that strikes me as being a bit panic-stricken. You can see that they are worried that so many big people have come together to fight them. And, they're saying all kinds of things. These people are losers, blah, 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 blah. And some of their criticisms of the coalition are probably, reasonable or valid. But then, criticisms of this government are also massively valid. And so, people should have the courage to stand up and say, this time, you're not going to get away with being so overbearing. Because, look, Tinubu has managed to lure or bully or cajole or whatever, persuade a lot of opposition elements, including a handful of governors, to join his party. And that makes a lot of people, even a lot of voters who don't like Tinubu, even more depressed because they think, well, kind of the guy's so powerful, what can we do? We're finished. This election has already been won. And I say, no, it has not. You've got 2 years in which to get your act together. You've got 2 years in which to stand up to be counted. Do not behave like what I call the sheeple. Do not be brainwashed into believing that it's a done deal. Why bother to even vote in 2027? Because Tinubu is so godlike and so, omnipotent that, nothing we do can rescue us from him and his people. No. The sheeple are people who allow themselves to be deceived and led like sheep. Stop being sheeple. Become people. That is, people who can stand up and say, enough is enough. We're not going to put up with this anymore. We cannot be bullied by a minority. Because, let's face it, members of a political party are a minority. Even if they control all these different levers of state power, fact of the matter is, the majority is the majority. And I don't know how to, I'm not in a very articulate mood today, but let me just say that Nigerian voters have got to believe that they have what it takes to say no, no, no. We want a change in government. And Tinubu maybe Tinubu will suddenly improve his performance and, he will become a better candidate by 2027. But looking at how he is now, based on how he is now, I am very, very desperate for him to be voted out of office. And I will be absolutely thrilled if voters say, whether they are pro-Peter Obi or in favor of Atiku, or they love Amici or somebody else in the opposition, I would just say, please, just find a way to blend and bond and become an efficient fighting force. Because the masses, the majority, can definitely effect change. In countries where the incumbents have been much more brutal and unpleasant, they've been driven out of office. Look at Syria, for example. That butcher of Baghdad has taken off with his family to Russia. I'm sorry to call him that because, it's very unfortunate that a man who is a medical doctor should wind up with that kind of reputation. But, he was not a good president. I don't know if the people who've replaced him are any better, but I'm only saying that he had a very tight grip on power, and his family had controlled Syria for a long time, going back to his father's days. So, if he could be removed and driven out of office, Tinubu is a sage compared to him. And, so believe. Don't be sheeple. Be people. Thank you.